everyone, Christina here with your Divine Love reading for the week of January 9th through the 15th. Thanks for joining me. A couple of quick announcements up top before we get started. First is the Synchronicity Journal 2017 is available for instant download on my website. And this is just a nice little daily log of all the synchronicities and signs that you get from the universe and your guides as they are trying to guide you down the road toward divine love. And the other thing is I'm offering as a special a $44 year ahead reading for your specific divine love partnership. And it's just like the one that I've posted elsewhere on my channel. You can check that out and you will get one just like that. Okay, let's get into the cards for the week. A lot of really interesting things going on. So the mundane stuff in the kind of the center energies, we're going to be separated this week, like very, very much. Our energies will be apart, but it's okay because there's so much love everywhere else in this reading that it's like, whoa. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. The energies surrounding us this week, we have the Maiden of Cups. And what I'm really actually getting from this is about this, how she's got her eye kind of like framed here. This whole week for us on our side is about not just staying in our lane, but like laying down blueprints and plans for our own personal superhighway of like love and soul purpose and things like that. I mean, yeah, this is really big, and especially since now we are out of Mercury retrograde. So all of that kind of reviewing and revisiting and, all of that stuff that we've been doing for really kind of a long time. With Mercury going direct, we're going to be much clearer about going forward with a lot of things in our lives. And actually, I think between now and maybe first week in February, all of the planets are direct, which is huge. So this is a time to really be using the energy to be moving forward, and this is why I think actually it makes so much sense what the mundane energies are, because what we need to be doing is really getting focused on what am I looking at, where am I going. I really, like what is my plan, what is my purpose, and what am I doing to pursue it. Okay. Now, here's the problem. Drawing us away and out of alignment with divine love means that we're also getting out of alignment with our own soul purpose. We have the Seven of Cups, and this is about having too many opportunities and too many choices, and we want to do it all, and there are still only 24 hours in the day. So our advice, our caution for this week is about don't try to do everything. Be grateful. Absolutely be grateful that you have so many opportunities and so many different choices, for sure, but don't fall into the trap of trying to do every single thing at once. And I feel like this is a message that we have gotten multiple times in the last month or so about us taking on too many things and setting ourselves up for failure. And actually, if you look at what we have as the pulling us toward union, or toward love, toward divine love, we have the Three of Wands. And this is like, here's that eye again in the center focus. And, wait, what am I trying to do here? Okay, these aren't all going to fit in the frame. But this is, drawing us out of alignment is too many choices. This is, okay, focus, what is it that I really want? And this card is actually advising you, pick three things and go after one of them right now and keep the other two kind of on your back burner, but you gotta narrow it down to three. And I even, actually what they just said in my ears was it's not even about three for this week. It's like, no, three for the year. Pick three for the year. Go after one of them with everything you've got this week. And, for however long it takes to kind of get a groove going with that. And just know that the other two are kind of on the back burner. They're brewing, they're simmering, they're in that crock pot, okay? But they will come up for action in their own time, okay? But I look at this, all this rainbow color. It's like, you can get everything you want. But you gotta focus on just a couple at a time, okay? You can't get everything you want at once. All right. Also, this is, I do like that the Three of Wands. I do read intuitively, so it's not just about like the cookbook meanings, but I am being told to remind you what the Three of Wands is about in its traditional meaning, which is about horizons, broadening your horizons, exploration, discovery. And so it's like the only way you get to start really chasing after some of your dreams is to pick one at a time and really commit yourself to it. So the reason why they want me to explain that and maybe draw a contrast is that going after one dream is not the same as I was going to say another Simpsons thing that had me giggling last week, but it doesn't shrink your horizon down. I was going to say smallen up, which is it doesn't matter. I'm not even, you know what? It doesn't even matter. Yeah, so this is not about shrinking your horizon. Okay, if you choose to pursue just one thing at a time. All right. Now on their side, actually, yeah, so let's look at the energies on their side, then we'll do the masculine and feminine. We got a lot of extra cards this week, which is why I'm like, oh wow, okay, and it's purposeful for sure. Now on their side, the current energies that they're dealing with are, they have the Knight of Pentacles, and this is, I read intuitively, so they're wanting me to read the image, not the traditional meaning of what the Knight of Pentacles is. So they're in a little bit of like wistful dreamy land right now. And they're kind of contemplating their own horizons. Do you remember how our side had that Hathor thing going on? They are doing kind of something similar about parenting on their side. Dude, you guys... And I do want to thank the couple people who sent me messages about like this could also be about creative projects. Yes, absolutely, that's totally true. But holy smokes, this is like the messages that are really coming forward. And I got a lot of other messages later in the week that were like family, 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 and I was like, good grief, okay. So this seems to be the energy that's going on right now. They are now doing a little bit of that kind of contemplation on their side as well. Yeah. And the other thing that they are doing is they're doing a little bit of okay, so part of the energy is doing a little bit of review about where they've been, how they got to this, like where they are in this moment right now. And a really nice positive thing about it is that they're not being overly romantic about how great things used to be. It's not that kind of thing, but they're actually kind of harvesting and culling the gifts, the positive experiences out of, what was like really treacherous terrain, what they felt, what maybe last month felt like, oh my gosh, I cannot take this anymore, I have to make a change. Now they're getting to that point where they can actually go, okay, that wasn't all misery, like I learned something from it. Those were experiences that shaped me and helped me, they helped strengthen me. But in general, this card, this figure is looking toward the future, and which is also why that family thing is coming up. So, yeah, that's kind of an interesting little thing they have going there. So they're in a little bit of dreamland, their own dreamland. So where we are kind of like trying to get focused and like, okay, what am I doing? Because on our side, we might have a tendency to be like, to be a little bit more like this and then end up not doing anything because there's the whole entire world for us. Like, so we're getting focused, but because they have actually been doing the opposite, like they've been having a little bit more of a complementary energy to that expansiveness. They have been focused almost with like blinders and tunnel vision on their own lives, and now they're actually kind of getting a little bit better perspective and seeing the big picture of things and seeing how all of those experiences actually help carry them forward, and they're contemplating some new configurations of what their future might look like. Yeah. Okay, drawing them out of alignment. Actually, I'm going to show you both of these at the same time. So drawing them into alignment and out of alignment. They are related. So we'll do out of alignment. So this is drawing out of alignment and this is drawing into alignment, but you can see that they're both pretty tough cards. So let's start here. Drawing them out of alignment is the Eight of Swords, and it's this little hamster. I think it's a hamster. It might be just your standard issue rodent. What? This is when they get their thoughts, they kind of linger in the darkness of their thoughts, in the darker aspects of their pain. Okay, so when they, this kind of contemplation about like, oh, what was that path I walked? When they are tempted to kind of feel sorry for themselves and just be kind of angry and miserable about it, that draws them out of alignment. But here's where I want to spend more time on this one. The Three of Swords is a very tough card. It's about heartache and heartbreak, and but this is what's drawing them into alignment, so it seems strange. And this isn't about them enduring more misery this week. This is actually about them looking directly at, you know, all the different, and it's, I actually even want to say they had 3 major heartaches in their life, and they are looking at those traumatic incidents. Oh, actually, no, I kind of, what will draw them into alignment is if they do this. They aren't necessarily doing this, but if they do this, that will bring them into alignment. And what I think is really interesting about this is, it's like, this is in the darkness. This is when they kind of go into their shadow space. When they're avoiding it, like this little mouse is like, help me, I'm trying not to get cut. And, you know, they're just kind of suspended in there. But this is really, this is light. This is about them looking. This is about them like really dealing with it, and not the same way like they had that King of Cups last week, which is about like diving into the emotion. This is just like looking at the trauma, and they're actually having more of a detached examination of it, which is fine. You know, they don't have to have like a whole tumultuous grieving process this week. This is actually about them just being honest with themselves about, yeah, you know what? Anybody would be hurt by that. Anybody would be hurt by this one and this one too, and I had all 3 of them, one after another. So maybe there's a reason why I've got all this heartache and, you know, all of whatever is going on with them right now. And so that's, you know, them looking is the thing that, it's like they're looking toward their future, and what they know is, all right, I'm going to have to look at this if I'm going to have this family stuff be happy and stable. Okay. Okay, so you can see how these mundane, just the mundane energies surrounding and pushing and pulling on each of us is, it really is, it's not like warnings to be staying in our lanes. It's just like, we just are in our lanes. Just we're not even in the same town right now. Okay. It's like, they're over in their little land of life review, okay, and we are in our land of where am I going, all right? So now looking at the masculine and feminine energies coming into balance on our side, this Persephone card is just really sticking with us, man. So she's got, her keyword is cycles, and the masculine energy is Lu, and his keyword is skill. And this is our 5 cards on our side are telling a very coherent story. This Persephone is about, you know, these are the cycles of kind of fallow and plenty, and you know, she has to spend 6 months of the year in the underworld. But this is just reminding us, like, this is a cycle. Like, this time that we're spending figuring out what we're doing and making a real plan for ourselves, it's purposeful, and it is part of a cycle of us being in retreat. We have to go away from this, all of this. Like, our energy we won't be thinking about it. I mean, not even wistful. It just like, it's not really on our minds, because we just know. And that should be very comforting, that there's that kind of manic obsessive like always, like, you know, like the hamster wheel. When you get into the hamster wheel of your mind and it's like the constant worrying and thinking and all of that stuff about them, it's like, yeah, they're doing their thing and I'm doing my thing, and there's no worry about like, oh, I don't really feel their business right now, and I'm kind of not that concerned about it because I got my own thing going on, right? And it's actually, I mean, it really is. It's like getting excited about what we're planting and what we're doing, and you know, kind of where we're headed. So this card, and this also is saying this is a cycle. This will be a short period of going away to do this stuff, but then it comes back around again because everything does. Okay, and Lou is, this is the yang energy for us, and it's about, okay, so if you know where you're going, what do you need, what skills do you need, what resources, what's it going to take for you to get there? And this is very much about like assessing your talents, you know, like taking an accounting, you know, of all the resources and skills and talents that you have available to you right now, what you need to develop, and how they fit into this larger picture of like, who am I going to be in the world? Because this is a 1 year, and I got, you know, it's like for the next 9 years, I am doing something. So what's it going to be? Okay. And this feels good. Okay. Now their side is a little tougher. I know, I'm like, it feels great. And you're like, yeah, great, until we get, so they've got Pele and Aries, and these are two pretty chaotic, they can be very chaotic energies. And I think it's very, very, very interesting that, so they've got, Aries is the god of war, Pele is a Hawaiian goddess, and she's, it's like it's purposeful destruction. Yeah. And this can be, if it's out of balance, out of line, this can be very just straight destruction. And so for them, they really are needing to get these two energies into balance with each other, because, you know, as they are doing this kind of assessing, and if you watched the month, not the monthly, but that too, but the year ahead, they're having, these first 2 months really are about, you know, this kind of tear it down, rebuild, what am I doing, what am I fighting for? And Pele here is there to help them be purposeful in their destruction of, you know, of the tearing down of all the stuff that doesn't serve them, but also helping them to find their purpose. When, you know, Pele is an energy that people call on when they need to find their purpose, you know, and it's like when you need that dynamism, when you need that kind of like lighting a fire under your butt. Okay, so like her volcanoes, and it kind of gets them, it nudges them out of this kind of like daydreamy space about it into action. So this is, Pele here is our buddy. You know, she's our ally on their side this week. And, you know, and they've got Aries, and this is one that they're going to be kind of battling a little bit, making sure that they're not just battling for the sake of it and being like aggressive and argumentative for no reason. Okay, which is a little bit of this, even though this is like a cute little hamster. But this is still a little bit of just like kind of mentally fighting themselves. Okay, all right, let's go to, so, you know, here was a first set of extra cards that came out. For whatever reason, they wanted me to pull an extra masculine and feminine, not for each of the partners, but just for what's going on in the union, and I could not be happier about it. So the first card, the feminine energy for the whole union, is Bridget, and her keyword is healing. And I kid you not, the masculine energy is Eros, and his keyword is love. Now here is where, this is why I was like, look, this is another time where everything's fine. And I love that the cards that we're getting, it really does seem the cards we've been getting all year or the cards for the year ahead, and that are kind of pulling us through, even though they're giving us the picture of kind of the day-to-day just drudgery of just doing this. They are also giving us these really, really lovely, reassuring cards about, yeah, but don't mistake this being apart, this, you know, looking at stuff and kind of doing the hard work of this as a weakening of the connection. Because, okay, so here's the deal. Let me tell you the story of Eros. So it's the story of Eros and Psyche. Psyche was told by an oracle that she was going to marry the most wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful man, okay, the most perfect man, and it's Eros. But the catch was, there's always a catch. The catch was she would never be able to lay eyes on him. And so then they're married and they're happy and everything's great. And then Psyche's friends convince her that Eros is ugly and terrible and horrible. And so Psyche's like, wait, what? Are you sure? And so she, in the middle of the night one night, she lights a candle just to peep at him. And so just that little bit of candlelight falls across him and she's able to see. But what also happens is the candle wax drips on him, wakes him up. And so he's discovered that she's betrayed this trust, okay? Like this thing that she's not supposed to do. She's not supposed to look at him. And so he leaves her. And this is so, it just feels so about like what is going on here? Because it's like the counterpart, your counterpart over here doesn't want to be looked at. They've been avoiding looking at this for so long. And they certainly don't want you looking at it. But then, of course, you show up and you're like, hey, what's going on here? And because it's like written all over them. And you're like, what's this? And they're like, what are you talking about? Nothing, right? But basically what happens is that, you know, it's a violation of their trust. And, you know, and that's going to resonate in your individual partnership in a lot of different ways, you know. So it might have been like a real breach of trust, like the ways that we would think of that. But it also could be this other kind of breach of, hey, I've set myself up for my love partners not looking at me, you know, like they've been working with this facade and it's time for that to come down. And the epilogue on that Eros and Psyche story is that they do reconcile. There is forgiveness there. And basically that love, the sheer force of love is the thing that managed, that kind of, you know, got through any of, what do you want, there's a word I need, that prevailed. It prevailed over, you know, that breach. And then Bridget is also, this is healing, and like the two of them together, it really is just like, hey, guess what? Love heals. And a beautiful thing that I heard another reader, I do like Agatha a lot, but a thing I heard her say a couple weeks ago, which I thought was so perfect and is absolutely what these cards are about. It's that love heals, let love do the work. That's what she said. And I just was like, oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, just let love do the work. We're all going to retreat to our separate corners and just allow the love that's already there, let it do its healing work, okay? And it's, yeah, okay, they're like, you're going to be silly now, so just, you know that's all you need to say about that. Okay, so let's go now to the overall energies for the week, or for the union. So yeah, so we got the, you know, our extra cards. We also have message from afar as the union or the partnership energy. And this is also, you know, even though you might be going, oh, messages, like, no, not messages. There's not going to be communication. Really, everybody's going to stay in their corners this week. And really, and I think we might stay in our corners for kind of an extended period now. But this message from afar, this is actually about messages from within, like from deep within, from the depths. And it's the way that resonates. It kind of bubbles up and resonates into our own consciousness. So things like this, like what are our dreams? What's our life purpose? Those things that we know that we're here for. And so we're getting called. This is like inner callings. That's the phrase I was trying to come up with. These are inner callings. And so it's heeding our own inner callings. They are also heeding theirs, like they're heeding their inner calling, because what they know is this is not their future. This is their past, but it does not need to frame their future. Okay, so they're going to start heeding their inner callings as well, finding their purpose, with Pele here to help them. We also have our energies guiding us to help us as well. And and you know what else this is? And I think this is why they had these cards come out with them, is that this love and healing energy, it's like that little song continues to play kind of off in the distance in the background. And we can both just kind of listen to that as our spiritual music, okay? And just know that it's there, but we don't have to be actively doing anything, okay? And the soul cards for the week, I think, also speak to that. And this is incredible. So this was the first card that came out, and I wasn't going to pull another one, but they're like, no, pull one more. And I was like, are you sure? Okay. And then when I pulled the other one, I was like, well, why did I have to pull a second one? Because they're the same card. Oh my gosh. So it really is. It's like, no, the reason why we needed to see these as two separate cards is that we have similar work going on. We're getting lots of guidance from our guides. It's like, if you have the Rumi Oracle, the card number 43, I don't know why I know that, is the hand of Fatima. And basically it's like we have helping hands who are bringing all of this, bringing the forgiveness into, bringing it into being, like bringing it into resolution. It's helping us find some resolution. And so both sides have this going on. I'm inclined to say that the blue one is our side, mostly because it's like we have the hands and everything, but there are two faces here because we still have a portion of our mind over here on them. They are doing more work. This is theirs, and I do want to show you this close up, because you can see this leaf motif that's on here. And if you think about what happens when leaves change and fall away, that's what's happening for them. The color, the things that, all the things that had been, it's like the cycle card too coming up. But all the things that had, that cycle of life, that greenery that they had for a while, this life that they had previously, it's draining away, it's falling away. And it's not because it's dead forever. The tree still lives, and then in the spring, new leaves emerge. So that's what the kind of work that they're doing now, and they have a lot of help and guidance with them to do it, as do we. So, and they're not even telling us, like, they're not telling us too much about, don't, get them off your mind or whatever. They're like, look, we know you're going to have them on your mind, and that's fine, but just know that, well, you're not really in their picture, which, whatever. But just know that like, yeah, we know you're going to do that, but know that you also have these hands kind of helping you. And the hand of Fatima in the Rumi Oracle is that helping hand. Okay. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying about, like, even though that mundane stuff about, like, here's our lane, here's their lane, or here's, like, basically it's like, here's our county and there's their county, or whatever oh God, I have a tendency to do silliness like this. That even in that far awayness, it's like, yeah, the love continues to bind you or bond you, connect you, but this week is like, the messages are really about, like, listening to that inner calling And there was an advice card in here. Oh, yeah, because here it is. And I don't, as you know, I don't usually, I don't like reading from the books, but this time they did call me to do it. So the advice this week is divine order. And you're like, yeah, I know, we're supposed to trust it, right? No, but here's the thing. They were like, go read the book. So here's the last sentence. This is great. Divine order is visible, but it is only visible through the perspective of love, just as the true purpose of things can only be known by the light of your soul. I am about to cry. Your world doesn't need saving. It just needs to be loved. You guys, my God. Oh, wow. I really, okay, don't cry. We're being guided down our separate roads, and it's like, here's their road, there's our road. We are being guided down these separate roads for a while because each of us needs to find our purpose. That was in there. That love is the way we find it. That's in here in these cards. That, what was the other thing? There was one more thing in there. Oh, that your world doesn't need saving. It just needs to be loved. And this purpose thing is about how do we enact love in ways that are not, people conflate divine love and unconditional love with romantic love. And they just do it all the time. And the thing is, it's like romantic love at its best is as a subset of divine love. But romantic love is not necessarily divine or unconditional. And you've probably been through enough of these and observed enough in your life to know that that is true. Okay, so this really is about, like, the advice for the week is just to understand, like, look, the work that needs to be done right now that everybody is doing is about how do I enact love. How do I enact this divine love through my soul purpose, through my life purpose? How do I do that? And okay, sorry, I was a little bit listening in there. And what they're saying is, like, how do I do that besides the being in contact with, like, how do I love them without being in contact with them? How do I communicate with them without actually being in 3D contact with them? How do we get these messages back and forth to each other without actually being in contact? And so this week is about, it's that Rumi quote again. I closed my mouth and I spoke to you in 100 silent ways. And it's the same thing about, okay, and I loved you. I loved the world in 1,000 silent ways, in 1,000 ways that were different than what my frameworks for love have previously been. And this is going to go up on, processed and go up on Sunday, which is David Bowie's birthday. And then in the middle of the week on Tuesday, I think, is the anniversary of his death. And so, of course, if you haven't figured out already, I do like David Bowie. And so, also because I am an intuitive and I will read anything, this is actually a collection of postcards that I picked up at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London last year. And so, obviously, leaving hundreds of clues. So the first thing I want to tell you is this week, pay attention. I mean, and there's going to be a lot of stuff because, he's going to be in the news this week, obviously. But pay attention to where David Bowie pops up for you in your life this week. This is a little bit of cosmic scavenger hunt for you. Where David Bowie pops up for you this week unexpectedly, because he's going to leave you a little clue for you to kind of pull on, a little thread for you to pull on, that has a message for you about your divine love partnership. Okay, that's going to speak to some of you a little bit more loudly than others. But I also, like I said, this is a pack of postcards. So I shuffled and I pulled one, and I just thought, I was like, oh gosh, this is so perfect. So this, let me just read it. This is the contact sheet of David Bowie as a mime. As a mime, you guys. I closed my mouth and spoke to you in 1,000 silent ways. And this was, so I'm just going to read actually all the rest of it because I think that there might be some resonances for some people. So the photographs were taken by Kenneth Pitt in London on May 7th, 1968. And they are courtesy of Kevin Can and Kenneth Pitt. And then the images are now like, the David Bowie archive is housed at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, although it is touring right now. Yeah, I totally am like, this is my radar, okay? Although it is on tour right now, and it's in Tokyo at the moment, I believe. So all of that, I'm throwing all that information out there because it's relevant. I know that it's relevant to different ones of you out there. So your David Bowie Oracle card this week is David Bowie's a mime, and it could. I mean, seriously, you guys, there's so many postcards in here, and they're like lyrics and photos, and it's the one of him as a mime. On the week that we're getting the everybody's kind of staying in their lane and not talking to each other, and yeah, this is beautiful, and I love it. Even though our mundane stuff is our side is exciting. We've got lots of opportunities. We need to not try to carry every tennis ball in our mouths like a golden retriever who can't focus, all right? So we need to focus and go like, wow, the whole world is available to me. All of these cups are available to you, but not if you try to do them all at once, okay? Their side, hopeful stuff. They're doing work, you guys. I mean, this is healing work. And the whole thing is, I love that phrase. I'm just going to say it and love it over and over and over again, is that let love do the work. Let love be love is healing. All of this is that forgiveness, the hand of Fatima. Everything is working. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And, so that we don't have to be doing all of that work ourselves. We are now, this is the universe shouting at us to say like, look, we got it. Please go follow your purpose. The world needs you. It doesn't need to be saved. It needs to be loved, and you need to get yourself in alignment with it. Okay. So this is great. That's it for the week. Just a reminder again, the Synchronicity Journal and $44 special on year ahead readings. All right. Take care, everybody. See you next week.